So, since I wasn't recording the audio for that, I'll just go quickly. I think the Dizzy Devils are going to show up here and win 5-2, take the division points lead for the North, obviously barring the Margays. The Sea Dogs, they're talented, but they're not going to be able to face the onslaught of McFadden. I think the Captains are going to win here. They're in a 3-game slump, 4-game slump after almost being on the top of the division at 4-2. I think the Jocks are just, they don't really have anything to play for. They're just not that good of a team. Pharaohs, I think it could go either way. The Gold, if they get out to a good start, they can go 5-2. I think the Pharaohs could also go 5-2 if Charlie plays well and everybody rallies around him. The Cats, I was just in the middle of dissing them, saying that Alfonso and Jared aren't good players. They're not. They're not stars. The Cats are missing a star. They just have a bunch of role players. They don't have a dasher. They don't really have a good chemistry. They just kind of mill about. And the Skylarks are completely opposite. This is a team that's a movement. They're clearly worse than the Toros, less talented, but they have a mean streak of defense that is just any set can be turned around by them, and that's what kind of makes them a tricky team to play. And I think the Skylarks are going to win. The Skylarks, they don't win strong. That's the thing. They're just such a strong defense, but I think they'll win this one 5-3 in New Orleans. Two expansion teams playing. The Phoenix going to Charlotte to play the Checkers. Checkers, when both these teams have had surprise wins as of late. Checkers coming off a win versus the Cats 2 weeks ago, just showing that they can win a solid game. Middlestein, they continue to say he's a bust, but he's not terrible. But meanwhile, Hans Greeley and Dante have just really been putting together some games. They gave the Pharaohs some trouble last week. They beat the Gold, obviously, or the Silverbacks, obviously, 2 weeks ago. Both these new teams are kind of coming into their own. Sven and Middlestein for the Checkers, and Dante and Greeley. Dare I say, this is going to be probably one of the most exciting games of the week. It'll probably go to 9 sets. I mean, these teams are pretty stacked together evenly, and they're not very talented, but they're both up and coming. It'll be good to see, the first and second pick in the draft, what one season on, how they're doing. I say Checkers win it because they're at home. Empire versus Margays. The Empire, this is a deeply personal game for the Empire because they have always been the gatekeeper to the North. And if they don't win here and they lose out on the points race, there's going to be a new division champion without their consent. And that, for Ramos and the boys in New York, that means so much. They don't really, in all reality, they're kind of resigned to the fact that they're an inferior team to the Margays. But if they're in the way of the Margays achieving said success, they're going to do everything they can to be there and at least get to the division title game to be there, So this is a deeply personal game. They've won the division 5 out of the last 7 seasons, and Margays have never won the division, and they want to be there to congratulate the Margays. And as arrogant as that is, they want to be there. This game means a lot. They have to win this to stay alive. And, I don't think it's going to happen. I think the Margays are going to come in. In week 5, it was a 9-set affair. They did match up well, but I think the Margays are just steamrolling right now. And the Empire just keep losing stupid games. So I take the Margays 5-3. Toros hosting the Dragonfish. This could possibly be the trap game that trips up the Toros' perfect season. I don't think they'll mind too much if it happens, but it could happen. Raekwon, maybe they target Raekwon more than he's been targeted all season, one of the least targeted people in the league. Maybe they finally have a chemistry breakdown. But we'll see. They've been very surprisingly cohesive this year. And the Dragonfish, they have a solid team. Maybe they're just in a very talented division, but you can't really make that excuse when you lose to the Cats twice. Cats are okay, but if you can't beat an okay team, you're not worth saying they're talented. So this could be a trap game. I'm gonna pick the Toros 5-3, but I think the Dragonfish could easily win this 5-3. Silverbacks hosting the Diamonds in the flex game. The Silverbacks, they've been kind of on a skid lately. I mean, they just beat the Gold, so they vanquished the Gold out of the playoff conversation in a very, very close game. But now the Diamonds, after a huge win against the Cats last week, have surged themselves back into the points race conversation, and they're gung-ho about it. You can't tell them anything. They want this points race. They think they're one of the best teams in the league. I mean, at times they've shown they can be one of the best teams in the league. With Lions there, with Sebastian, the team chemistry is really good. And, I mean, we're kind of looking for the Silverbacks to come back into form. They just haven't been that smash-mouth team as of late. They've lost a lot of games, obviously. So both these teams have high expectations for this game. I think the Silverbacks are going to smash this one out 5-3, and they're pretty much going to clinch. I mean, you can't clinch a points race until the final game, but they're pretty much going to clinch the points race here. Gremlins going to St. Louis. Gremlins, they're the hot team right now. Interceptors, they're also a hot team. They've resurfaced after being 2-5, won 2 games. Gremlins, they've resurfaced to come up 5-4. They just beat the Scarlet Ember last week. This team completely is convinced they can't win. They're technically eliminated from the division race, so they can't win that. Interceptors remarkably can win the division race based on a series of tiebreakers and a ridiculous scenario. If the Scarlet Ember beat the Reapers by a score of 5-4, it would come down to tiebreakers, and between the 3 Reapers, Scarlet Ember, and Interceptors. It would come down to tiebreakers, and the Interceptors would be the division champions if they win this game versus the Gremlins. So the Interceptors, they're playing for everything. They're not banking on the division lead. For all intents and purposes, the way the Reapers have been playing, they should beat the Scarlet Ember, but we're not at that prediction yet. I think the Interceptors are talented. They have playoff talent. Their coaching strategy and their, all the front office stuff, kind of gets to them sometimes. But I think at home in the cold, they can put together a nice game. Salem will be back in his element, playoff time kind of element. And I think you'll see the Interceptors really start to, finally pick it up after a season of just being a question mark. I think the Interceptors are going to win 5-3. Now the Scarlet Ember Reapers pretty much could be billed as the division lead champion. Well, not championship, but whoever wins this game goes. If the Scarlet Ember win by more than 5-3, they win the division, despite their huge skid down the past 3 weeks. I mean, they've just been skidding. The Reapers have been playing way better, though. They lost to the Sea Dogs last week. Wasn't that close of a game, but that's not a division team. Inside the Midwest, the Reapers have been playing absolutely stellar, becoming the class of the league. Harper, Jason, Miller have just been really playing nice. Reapers, they win, they clinch the division easy, and they'd be a great representative. They would show some strength to the Midwest, I think, to the other divisions. But this is the Midwest, and you never know with these guys. And this has been the Week 10 preview show. We will be excited for the Week 10 coming up soon, and you have a nice night.